Not gonna lie, this video took me way longer than anticipated. And that's because Titan builds are a bit of a mess. I say this because they all seem to go the same way, which is Peregrine Greaves. If you had a shotgun with 1-2 punch, Peregrine Greaves and were playing with Molten Strike, then that's GG, as most stuff probably died in a single tackle or got severely chunked by it. But apparently using 1-2 punch in the air is like illegal or something to Bungie, so it's getting changed tomorrow, the 29th of October, which means no fun allowed. So that brings us back to the drawing board. You see, I've never had a shotgun with 1-2 punch. I've played Gambit Prime, Reckoning, Crown of Sorrow, and even farmed a ton of Essences of Rage, just until last night I got a one small step with 1-2 punch. Which is a bit frustrating considering the Peregrine situation previously mentioned. But that doesn't mean that bashing your head against enemies is not a good build idea for Titans. In fact, in today's content we are gonna embrace the playstyle. And it's gonna be pretty interesting because there is two ways to play this. Before we jump into the meaty stuff, if you enjoy the content, be sure to hit the subscribe button. I try to post at least twice a week and I'd like to grow the channel, so with a sub you can help the dream. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's get to bashing skulls. We're gonna be playing as a Striker Titan, top 3 Striker specifically. Seismic Strike is our build enabling skill. First, we're gonna dive into the mods and build enhancing stuff before we start talking about weapons and gear. So, from the artifact we want Thunder Coil, which will increase the damage of all arc abilities, and some other less useful stuff. At the same time, we want Ballistic Combo, which will give us melee energy on final blows with shield piercing weapons. And lastly, we want Unstoppable Melee because why not, really, since we are focusing on arc melees, might as well be remotely useful against champions. Just don't charge straight against unstoppable champions, that's just gonna end up terribly. Since we're gonna be using Ballistic Combo, we get a lot of mileage out of it if our strength stat is high. Currently, I sit at 91 and after 7 kills with a shield piercing enabled weapon, give or take, I get the melee skill back. On the class item you want Invigoration, since our primary is more than likely to be Masterwork, and when playing with teammates, Orbs of Light are gonna rain everywhere. Invigoration gives us back melee energy on our pickup. On our gauntlets, we want Solar Affinity because we can socket momentum transfer on solar bases. Dealing damage with our grenades gives us melee ability energy, and this is further improved by the fact that top 3 striker gets 2 grenades. Now we're gonna talk about weapons. We need a shotgun with 1-2 punch. I have a 1 small step, but any shotty that can roll the trade is fine. I recommend free hand grip for that improved hip fire accuracy. Since we are an arc class, we need to cover void and solar on our energy and heavy weapons. With a kinetic shotgun like 1 small step, we need a primary weapon that can socket shield piercing mods in the energy slot. And I'm so sorry to admit that Bungie has pushed us yet again to use Recluse as our primary weapon. I know, I am so disappointed and disgusted that I have to use such a meta-slaving weapon. Goodness gracious dude, I feel so disgusted by decimating packs of mobs in seconds. I may have to take multiple baths to wash off this feeling. Recluse is a great option, possibly the best, but you can use any other weapon you want as long as it can have anti-barrier as a mod. On the heavy, try to get anything that hits hard enough but also covers the last element you're missing. In my case, I have 1000 voices, but things like an aggressive frame grenade launcher, Whisper of the Worm, a machine gun, etc. Hell, even Leviathan's Breath. I'm kidding, who even thinks Leviathan Breath is remotely useful? So now it's time to decide what exotic to use to improve our face bashing experience. You got 2 options. For that clearing, you can use an insurmountable Skull Fort. Skull Fort is a meme in PvP and it's also pretty good for PvE. You gain health and Seismic Strike will regenerate immediately after a kill with it. It's freaking neat. With Thunder Coil and 1-2 punch, the Daft Punk helmet allows us to kill majors and keep bashing our head against more enemies. But that's where the Disco helmet shines. At clear. It doesn't really do much against enemies beyond majors, and even with the mod and 1-2 punch it's not enough. So for those of you who need to establish dominance by hurting the thick enemies real good, you use Synthoceps. Coincidentally with the 1-2 punch shotgun grind, Synthoceps was my last missing exotic for the Titan and sure happened to be selling it this weekend, and now it's fitting that it gets put into use right away. Synthoceps buffs melee damage while surrounded by enemies, which is what we mostly care for. This means Seismic Strike plus 1-2 punch plus Thunder Coil, fat head bashing DPS. However, this also means that once a Seismic Strike is used, it's gone until it's done recovering. But don't sweat it, your primary with anti-barrier will get that skill back in no time, so you can keep terrorizing worshippers of the darkness one head bash at a time. So yeah, that's it for the build. Originally I intended to use the Void subclass with Shield Bash, but that also meant using Oppressive Darkness, Breach Refractor, etc, etc. And we've done that already on the Hunter and the Warlock. Since Arc classes got some love with the artifact, might as well give them a spin, right? But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. I'm still thinking about what other builds to play with, and hopefully I'll have something later this week. With that, I hope you enjoyed today's content, and if you did, do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again soon enough. Peace.